Welcome to Fitness Explained, the podcast. I'm your host, Mel Waller. I'm a third-year sport and exercise science student, and I have a passion for science and helping others create a balanced and healthy lifestyle through understanding the science behind health and fitness. Welcome to episode 9 of Fitness Explained, the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Today we are going to be talking ISO, weight gain, and the typical things that I see around weight loss and what not to do and how to undertake weight loss correctly and lose fat mass correctly. But before we go into that, I want to talk about the product / task / food item of the week. Late week before last, which isn't really this week, but anyway, I got my new pair of Birkenstocks in the mail. And as you might know from listening to previous episodes, I am on a journey to fix my feet because after seeing a physio who I love from Kinematics in Richmond, I have pretty bad feet. I haven't been treating them well, so what has resulted in just mobility and performance issues with the rest of my body. So I'm on a journey to fix my feet, as I like to say, because alliteration is great. And one thing that I've really noticed in the research that I have been doing around my feet is that the shoes that we wear in modern day aren't really that great for our feet because they're not shaped like the human foot is shaped. So if we think about, how our foot is shaped, which is, tapered ankle, slightly wider brim, and then toes stay pretty much the same width as the brim, go in a little bit, and then they're sort of downward sloped in terms of the big toe or first toe is the tallest and our pinky is the shortest. But shoes aren't shaped like that, which is kind of really weird if you really think about what a shoe is meant to do. It's meant to support our foot and protect it. And if it's not shaped like our foot, then, well, how is it doing that? So, which I wouldn't have really thought until I did a bit of research into that. So I would really love to do more. And if you would like for me to get a podiatrist or an exercise physiologist or exercise scientist who's super into foot rehab and just knows heaps about training and the how the foot is related to that, let me know. DM me, email me, somehow come in contact with me to let me know, because it's a really interesting topic which I think is often overlooked. So yeah, back to how that relates to Birkenstocks. If you think about Birkenstocks, they've got the arch support, they're shaped like an actual foot. I know they're probably a little bit daggy with especially the closed toe ones that I got, but they're so comfortable and my feet feel way better for it. I mean, obviously, I wear no shoes in the house. I just wear socks, which I think most people do. I don't know what most people do, but I found that has really helped as well, because I used to wear like Ugg boots a lot, but I found just wearing socks has helped a lot more. So that's the product of the week. Also, I love plants. I love indoor plants. I feel like they just, as I spoke about last week, they just help me release all the endorphins. All the serotonin is released when I look at my plants. But the plant that I love heaps, which is my rubber tree plant, has not produced a leaf ever, and I've had it for like 9 months or so, and it's finally got a new leaf, so I'm really happy about that, which has nothing to do with training. I just wanted to get that out there because I've been looking after this plant for so long. It's finally growing. But anyway, without further ado, let's move on to the main topic of today. Today we're going to be talking about ISO weight loss and how to do it right. This is my second time recording because the first one which I recorded way earlier in the day, like the microphone was so bad. So I know my audio quality isn't the best, and I've been researching mics to get. I don't really know anything about mics, so looking at them has been a bit foreign because it's not something I've had to do before. So hopefully when I get this new one, you'll notice the sound quality difference, and I do apologize for the poor sound quality that I do have. I really appreciate that you listen anyway. So yeah, so ISO, weight loss, and how to do it right. So first up, there obviously isn't one way to lose fat mass. Everyone does it differently, and that's a good thing because everyone is different. You know, it wouldn't make sense for me to lose weight in the same way that you do because we're different. So just as a little disclaimer before I start talking about everything, I'm not saying that you need to lose weight or that I want you to. But what I have noticed is on social media especially, is that people have expressed that they have gained fat mass in ISO and they want to lose it. And if this is the case, if this is the general consensus, then I want to make sure that there is a resource for people to have, that they know how to lose fat mass in the most healthy way possible, and obviously take what you need and leave what you don't need from this episode. But I think people will have a better chance of losing fat mass way more healthier than if you didn't know this information. So, I just want to make sure that no one hurts themselves physically or mentally in an attempt to lose fat mass. And why I say fat mass and not weight is because mass is the same no matter where you are in the universe, and weight is relative to gravity. So mass sounds way less scary than weight loss to the everyday person. And when we do say weight loss, like, okay, my organs weigh, I don't want to lose my organs. So when I say fat mass, it's specific because, you know, when people say, oh, I want to lose some weight, they really mean, I just want some fat off me, really. Like, because, like, you know, if you're a person that starts working out more, you're probably going to gain muscle as well. So, you know, it's just being more specific and less general, really. So moving on to the common mistakes I see, is the first one is people have an idea in their head of what they want their body to look like. So for example, I see Steve Cook on Instagram. He's shredded as heck. He's got a great body, but I don't want his body. You know, he's a man, I'm a woman, I don't want that body. It's awesome, but you know, it's not what I need. Like his job is to look amazing and to look like a friggin' Grecian god. My job is to stay in uni, get my PhD one day, and help save lives one day. And, you know, I think that having a body like that and the dedication that I would have to have a body like that, first of all, it'd have to be a guy because, you know, he's a guy. But second of all, my body's not capable of what his body is doing. So, you know, what did they say? Comparison is the thief of joy. I'm never going to reach that. So why would I look at his body and go, oh yeah, that's what I want? So you can't just see someone's body and go, that's what I'm training to look like. Because you shouldn't, and second of all, you shouldn't train to look like anything. You should train to feel good. And yeah, looking great is is a benefit on the side. But, you know, I don't think that should be your forethought when, not your forethought, that should be like your main focus when training. So the next thing I want to talk about is restrictive diets. You know, when we talk about restrictive diets, veganism is a restrictive diet technically because you restrict yourself from eating meat. But, you know, there are more unhealthy restrictive diets. By what I mean by that is, you know, cutting out food groups that are perfectly healthy, but because you think that they're unhealthy. So, for example, I'm not going to eat any cake or any baked goods because they make me fat. Like that, you're going to resent yourself eventually, and that will result in you just binging a lot of the time. And that's obviously not healthy, because binge eating isn't healthy, obviously. So that's why I would prefer someone to have a more sustainable diet. And that's a word that I'll probably use a lot in this podcast, is sustainable, because sustainable means being able to go on in the way that you are for a really long period of time, and cutting out like low nutrient foods that are really yummy, like cakes and sweets and sugary drinks. Like, sure, they're not the best for us, but like, they're nice, and you're probably going to cave in if you completely cut them out. Veganism is far different, because you can be a vegan forever and be perfectly healthy if you plan it out right. But, you can't not eat fruit forever. Like, gosh. I mean, obviously, if you don't like fruit, then that's a bit different. But just cutting out fruit because there's sugar in it, like, that's just not going to work for you longer term. So the next thing I want to talk about is, I didn't say before, but this is going to be quite all over the place, and just me going from common mistake to common mistake that I see. So anyway, next common mistake I see is similar to the last one, in that people try to look for the secret diet weight loss key, like keto or veganism. People don't really do that for weight loss. What's another one? Just cutting out carbs, which is similar to keto, cutting out fruit, not eating anything with, fat in it, like just stupid things that people don't need to do. I had once a co-worker who is Stimuli, is that it? Hold on, let me do a live Google. Hold on a minute. Yeah, Stimuli. Yeah, who had Stimuli on the side of everything because she wanted to like fit into this. She wanted to look bikini body ready. I say that with air quotation marks because that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, for this like cruise that she was going on. This is ages ago, back when I was working in retail. So she ate Stimuli with everything because she said it's healthy. I was like, okay, let's step back a little bit. Let's think about how calories work. To lose weight, we either need to decrease our energy intake or increase our energy expenditure, or in some cases, a little bit of both. So what happens there is, if you change nothing else, the only thing you change, you keep the same amount of energy in and the same amount of energy out, but you then add Stimuli on the side of everything, isn't that just increasing energy in and therefore increasing your calorie intake? On top of that, olive oil's in Stimuli. Now, olive oil is a really great and healthy fat source, but, having it on the side of everything, because there's a lot of olive oil in Stimuli, that's not healthy either. That's a lot of fat that you're intaking, which isn't great for us either. So, these stupid secret diet weight loss things, like, they're just so silly. Like, another example is weight loss shakes. Like, there's no secret to weight loss. It's very like people who buy diet books, like, stop wasting your money. Go invest that. Go spend that on something that will bring you joy, not something that you buy out of fear. So yeah, just watch what I don't know how to express this enough. Weight gain is the result of not having a balance of calories in versus calories out. Like, simple as that. So next, I want to talk about exercising too much too quickly. And what I mean by that is, okay, gyms are open, or public pools are open, or outdoor pools, whatever. And then you're like, oh great, I'm really inspired to go to the gym, and which is awesome. I'm so happy you're inspired. But what happens when you go to the gym, starting from zero, being inactive during ISO/lockdown, and then you go into the gym 5 times a week for an hour and a half each session? That's going to result in injury. What I would prefer to see people do is, when they start the gym or swimming, is do 2 or 3 sessions a week. One of those 3 sessions being a more low-key sort of recovery-based ones. and then just trying to keep active during those other days in other ways, like walking to the shops instead of driving, walking a dog just an extra 10 minutes than you would normally do. Because if we do those really hard, intense sessions, it's going to result in injury, and that's going to decrease your physical activity levels. So it's going to result in more harm than good. So the next thing I want to talk about is people. I think we're coming to the end of this chapter of this rumour being around, but just to emphasise it even more, this rumour that I see that is like doing lots of cardio results in weight loss. No. Expending calories results in weight loss. If you do heaps of cardio and you don't like doing cardio, don't do it. Think of other, when I say heaps of cardio, I mean traditional sense, like going for a swim, run, or ergo. Think of other ways, more creative ways that can help your aerobic capacity improve. For example, HIIT. HIIT has been proven to improve your aerobic capacity, and HIIT you can do that whilst doing strengthening exercises. So what's a class? F45 is an example. It's a bit expensive for me, but it's an example of HIIT. So I just think do whatever exercising makes you happy. I don't like going for a run. I mean, I do try to do it twice a week because it's good for me, but I don't force myself to. I at least enjoy it to an extent that I still am able to do it twice a week. Not at the moment, obviously, because I'm just fixing up my glutes and hips and feet at the moment, but on a normal week when I'm not fixing myself, I try to do 2 sessions of cardio a week, and by cardio I mean like a intermittent run. So just do whatever exercise you want. Moving your body is better than nothing, and that's what I'm going to leave it at. So next I want to move on to not a mistake I see is not appreciating your body for what it can do. I think that we kind of get in this headspace that, my body's, I don't mean that this is what people think, but hypotheticals, my body's fat, why can't I be skinny like a model or whatever? Okay, that's great, but say you're a fully able person who's just gained, an extra 6.5 kilos during ISO, friggin' be grateful for what it can do. If you're fully able and you've just gained 6.5 kilos because of ISO, you're pretty freaking lucky in the scheme of things in this pandemic. I mean, you can still reach up to your top shelf and grab that tea bag and make a cup of tea and drink it perfectly fine. You're so lucky to be able to be like that. And this isn't me discriminating against those with disabilities. This is just giving a hypothetical for those who sort of see their body as something negative. So I think a lot of people need to change their mindset on don't hate your body for what it can't do. Appreciate it for what it can do and what it is. I go back to Steve Cook. He can lift way better than me, and I don't try and have the mindset that, Steve Cook's so much better than me, why can't I do that? I hate myself for not being able to do that. I see him as, oh wow, he's awesome. I wish I could be as strong as that. I think I am deserving of being able to lift as strong as I can. He's inspired me to do that. I'm going to go out and train as hard as I can because I want to. It doesn't come out of a place of jealousy. And moving on from that, as my next point is, if following ultra skinny, ultra ripped, ultra buff people on Instagram or wherever it may be, makes you really negative and causes not anxiety but stress, don't follow them. It's not that easy. You curate your feed. You don't have to follow them. No one's making you. If they don't bring you joy, don't do it. It's that easy. And I know that's a very simplistic way of explaining it, but is it really that much more complex than what I'm saying? You know, if you want to follow ultra ripped people, that's fine. Like, go ahead. Awesome for you. But if it's not impairing your mindset around your own body, that's basically it. And moving on is spending money on stuff you don't need. Like, for example, like, I don't know. Okay, a stationary bike. I would never invest the money on a stationary bike because I don't appreciate riding a bike indoors. I mean, if you like doing that, good on you. Awesome. Glad you can, because I certainly wouldn't. But I would prefer to invest my money on a really good pair of shoes because I have not great feet and I really love it when my shoes are really good quality for when I go running, because otherwise I get really sore feet and it's not a good time. So I think, I talked about in episode 6 of where to invest your money and how you can decide on what to invest your money in for fitness gear. And, you know, you don't have to invest your money in anything for fitness gear. It's pretty easy to do stuff for free, like yoga in the park. You don't really need that much equipment. You might want a mat to help you prevent getting dirty, and some fitness and some activewear. But otherwise, you know, you don't need to spend heaps and heaps of money on activewear and gear. So if you want to hear more about that, go listen to episode 6. But moving on to the next point, is people, I find, do not set goals. They don't set specific goals, and they don't set realistic goals. So by not setting goals, you know, just going into the gym, I just want to lose weight. Like, boring. Or not even setting goals at all. Like, oh, I just want to go to the gym because that's what I'm meant to do when I feel crap. Like, no, no. Think about what you're doing. Make an educated decision, you know? So when I say not specific enough goals, like, okay, what I said before, oh, I want to lose weight. Okay, let's think of a better way that we can word this so that we are more likely to set ourselves up for success. So, all right, here's a hypothetical. I want to lose 10 kilos of body fat or fat mass and gain 3 kilos or more of muscle mass, because I want to be more active so I can keep up with my 2 young kids who are outrunning me, even though they're 5 and 6, and they shouldn't be able to outrun me. And how I'm going to do this is by doing 2 runs a week and doing 3 1-hour strength sessions a week. And I'm going to get a ex-phys to help me do that, either once a week or once a fortnight, and so that I don't get injured and so that I know how to do the exercises correctly. So that's a very, you know, hypothetical example, but you've got a what, you've got a why, and you've got a how. And that's what I think I try to always think when I'm doing placement. Obviously, I'm going to join the workforce for my career very shortly when I graduate this year. But when I write programs, I try to think of a what, why, and how, because if I don't have that, then what's my point? Like, what am I doing here if I don't have that? And I think that's what people need to have when they lose weight, because otherwise we're doing it for either no reason or we're doing it out of fear. And I hate when, and I don't really like using the word hate, but I hate when I see people just wanting to lose weight because they think they're not good enough when they are a couple kilos or a couple dozen kilos. A couple dozen, wow, that's a bit of an exaggeration. But, you know, everyone's weight loss journey is different. But, you know, what was I saying? I don't think you need to do it that way. I would rather just be specific about it. You know, I don't want people to feel shameful about fat loss or scared, because there's so many resources out there, and it can be kind of daunting with all the resources that are out there. But there's so many professionals as well who are really hardworking and would love to help you on your weight loss journey. So go to them because they care. And next point is cutting out carbs. I don't know when this thing started, probably the 50s or something. No, that's probably when the fat-free stuff started. I want to say like the 80s or 90s, maybe early 2000s, is when carbs became the devil. Like, everyone started hating carbs. I don't know what's wrong with carbs. They're freaking awesome. They've got vitamins, minerals, and fiber, dietary fiber. You know, when I think of carbs, I think of oats, I think of wholemeal flour, I think of grains, seeds, vegetables, fruits, bread. Frick, how good is bread, by the way? Like, there's nothing evil about them. They're so good for you. You know, when you cut out carbs and you just eat frickin', I don't know, chicken breast and lettuce as your food, one, that's boring. Why are you eating that? Two, you're cutting out so many vitamins, minerals, and fiber from your diet that you need. Like, you need to survive and live a healthy lifestyle. So carbs aren't the enemy. The freaking media who made carbs the enemy are the enemy. That was a really convoluted way of explaining things. But next is related to diet as well, and that's not eating enough protein. You know, if you're wanting to gain muscles, you probably should be eating between 1.5 and 2 grams of protein per kilo of body mass, body weight, in kilograms. And then if you're just wanting to lose fat mass, or you're someone who's not that active but like to moderately active, it's 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilo of body mass. That might just be for women/females, but it might be the same for men. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, it's along those lines. Look it up on one of my previous posts. I've posted it somewhere, either on here or on my Instagram at fitness_explain_by_mil. Anyway, that's unrelated. But yeah, eating, like, protein is a super efficient way to keep us full, because although it does have a lot of calories in it, it keeps you way full of the calories you do eat. So basically more bang for your buck, if that makes sense. So if we aren't eating enough protein, we're not going to feel as full. So the next thing I want to move on to is not getting enough sleep. I don't know when it started. It's kind of a more millennial and Gen Z cultural thing, is this phenomenon that we hate sleep. Like getting a bad night's sleep is almost a trophy to wear and like a badge of honor. Like, oh, I got 4 hours last night because I stayed up all night studying or working on my latest project or working for work or like just playing video games. It's like, why? Why? You're just damaging your health by not sleeping enough. I think it's so strange. It's a very Western specific thing, to an extent Southeast Asian thing as well, that our cultures just do, which is really weird. But if you think about like Mediterranean countries, having a siesta is the norm. So I wish we did that, because I nap most days. Not most days. I'd say I'd nap at least twice a week. Yeah. And a nap doesn't even have to be like a freaking intrusive thing. It's just closing your eyes and resting for 15 to 30 minutes. That's all you need. And also getting the full 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. I mean, personally, I need 8 to 10, ideally 9 or 8.5. But if I don't get that, I am not performing. I'm like, there's no point me even rocking up. And people should consider themselves the same if they're not getting that recommended amount of sleep. You know, there's no point if you're not your best, or you're not feeling your best because of lack of sleep. So, and also lack of sleep has been linked to obesity, and a main reason for that is not getting good quality sleep or enough sleep. So the duration of sleep has us craving more hedonic foods, and those foods highly processed, really yummy stuff like cake, ice cream, pizza, and just craving food in general, which can lead us to overeat. And this isn't just for a long period of time, like not sleeping enough for months and months and years. It's actually acutely related as well. So if we get a poor night's sleep for just one night, it can affect our hunger levels. So next I want to move on to is going to experts but for the wrong advice, or just not going to experts at all. For example, going to see a physiotherapist for diet advice. I remember, I don't know where, it was at uni, I think it was. Yeah, and this person I went to uni with went to see a physio, and the physio was like, you should only be eating foods that are mentioned in the Bible. What? Bread and red wine? Frick, if I had a diet of that, I would, like, not survive. So, yeah, like, don't go to a physio for nutrition advice because they're a physio. They have very minimal education on nutrition and diet. Go to a dietitian instead if you want nutrition advice. And, you know, I do bag nutritionists a lot, but they do have a place in health because for those that are educated, not your Aunt Susan who went and did a essential oils and wellness course in Bali for 2 days. That's not a nutritionist. By nutritionist, I mean someone who's done a Bachelor of Health Science or Masters of Nutrition or something along, like someone who's certified. But why I prefer dietitians is just because they have a governing board versus nutritionists don't. So I could call myself a nutritionist because there's no governing body around it versus, for example, I can only call myself a registered exercise scientist when ESSA, my governing body, says I am one because they have certified me. So that's all the common mistakes I have found that I see people doing when they want to lose weight. But I think this can apply to not just ISO. I think this can apply to wanting to lose fat mass in general. It's not specific to now. But if there are any other things you've noticed that you think, frick, why do people do that? Let me know. Message me, DM me, email me, whatever you want to do. All my details are below in the description bar. And without further ado, let's move on to question of the week. This week's question of the week is kind of going to be off the cuff because just because I feel like it. So this person has asked for some morning running advice. So do you have any tips how to warm up and not feel too tired after rolling out of bed, to trying to go for a jog? I would prefer to run in the morning because I feel like but I also feel like I'm in a daze and don't have much energy to perform very well on my morning runs. So would you suggest having a small something to eat? If so, what would you suggest, or waiting a certain period of time before waking up? Thank you. So first of all, I want to make sure that you're getting enough sleep, because if you're like peeling yourself out of bed, it probably means you aren't getting enough sleep. I know I was talking about that before, and it's a freaking reality that I dread too. It's a freaking pain in the ass that we do have to sleep. You know, wouldn't it be freaking awesome if we all didn't have to sleep? Imagine how much stuff I could get done. But yeah, as I said before, those 7 to 9 hours, unless you're one of those freaks that only need like 4 or 5 hours to function perfectly fine, I think that's like a really low percentage of the population. So yeah, make sure you're getting enough sleep. Make sure you're getting good sleep hygiene. By sleep hygiene, I mean not making sure your bed sheets are clean. By sleep hygiene, I mean making sure you're not staying up till all hours of the night, because you're binging these blue light emitting TVs and iPads and iPhones and smartphones and whatever. Make sure you are, I mean, this isn't related to sleep hygiene because of like hygienic reasons, but I like having a sleep before bed. First, because of the hygienic reasons. I don't want to be putting my fucking gross ass unclean in my nice, fresh, expensive bed sheets because I invest in my bed sheets. Second of all, it makes me feel better sleeping clean. And it also, like, I like the warm water because, you know, it makes me feel relaxed and stuff. Get that Lush Sleep body lotion, shower lotion, whatever you want to call it. It smells like lavender. It's freaking delightful. Making sure I'm sort of getting that routine for bed so they do feel sleepy. Anyway, that's a little bit off topic. So yeah, making sure that we aren't glued to our screens just before bed. Also, making sure you don't exercise just before bed because that does affect our sleep as well. I talk about sleep like almost every podcast. I probably should do a dedicated episode on it. Let me know if you want that. But yes, because as I talked about before in the last episode, exercising just before sleep makes us really energetic, and that's why it can be difficult sometimes to fall asleep just after doing exercise. I know when I used to train until 8 o'clock, I wouldn't fall asleep until like midnight, but I typically fall asleep around 10:30 p.m. or 11, sometime in between then. So, yeah. Then the next thing I wanted to talk about, a little snack. I think that's an awesome idea. If I exercise in the morning, how I like to sort of plan my meals. And I'm pretty sure I got this from a dietitian as well. Yeah, I went to a nutrition seminar the other day and they were talking about this. So sorry, I can't like link this in the description bar because it was a webinar. But if you're someone that drinks caffeine, I really enjoy having a tea just before my exercise in the morning because it helps me wake up a little bit, and having some small form of carbohydrate. So nothing that's really protein rich or fat rich, because your stomach does need to it does need to focus on digesting that, and having a simple carbohydrate like a banana or a piece of fruit, but not just like one raspberry. I mean like a banana or an orange that's a little bit that's like a fistful, let's say, of simple carbohydrates. Not simple, I'd say like moderate, yeah, because a banana is more on the moderate end. And a cup of tea or coffee or whatever you like to have. I don't think pre-workout is necessary. I'm on the side of I don't really think pre-workout is a good idea. Personally, if you're the everyday person, if you're some sort of powerlifter, go ahead. Having said that, I'm not a massive fan of powerlifting. Oh my gosh, I know that there are a few powerlifters that listen to this podcast. I'm sorry, but I'm actually not. Feel free to email me and attack me. But what was I saying? Sorry, this is getting like really long. So have something small, but then have that second breakfast that's protein rich after the run, just so your body isn't digesting it on the run, because that's going to make you feel really sluggish and not great. And is there a certain period after waking up that you should run? No, not really. I have exercised 20 minutes after waking up, and I've exercised hours after waking up. I find that there's not much of a difference. Having said that, if you're a morning person, awesome, work out in the morning. But also, if you're not a morning person, don't exercise in the morning. Maybe do a little bit of work or clean the house and then go for a run. If that's something, maybe just work out what your routine is, basically. Like, don't force yourself to run, because then you're going to resent running or exercising, rather. And don't, I'm telling you not to, I do it all the time, but do as I do, not as I say. Scroll on Instagram as soon as you wake up. That is not helping you in the slightest. That's another tip. So, maybe invest in an alarm clock. They're not very expensive, and put that next to your bed and leave your phone out in the kitchen, for example, rather than using your iPhone as an alarm clock. That's just an example. But those are my little tips and tricks for getting up and getting motivated to run and not feeling like you're in a daze while you're running. So hope that helps, and thank you so much for listening, and time for disclaimers. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. And time for disclaimers. So please chuck us a follow on Instagram at fitness_explain_by_mil, or just fitness explain for short. I am working on getting us onto Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all other podcast streaming services. However, it's just a matter of time. If I have used any references, which I most likely have, it will be in the show notes / description bar below. If you could please like, follow and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Also, take a screenshot and put it on your socials and tag us. I'd also really appreciate that. Also, this podcast is a platform that's general in nature and not tailored to your specific needs. If you are struggling with your mental or physical health and well-being, please seek help from a medical professional such as a registered psychologist, registered and qualified dietitian, registered GP, registered exercise scientist, or physiologist. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.